I mean, you know, if we want to hold them to the same standard that Seth, that corporations are being held. Yeah, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. In fact, what Seth just pointed out was that this citizens initiative specifically excludes labor unions. So nobody else can contribute up to a certain, or they can contribute up to a certain amount, but if labor unions want to come in and run them over with additional money, then that's okay with the initiative. So I'm not part of the leadership team, but because I've been on this Governor's Commission on Strengthening Utah's Democracy, they've asked me to run the campaign finance limits bill. All right? Now, I'm going to ask you a question. What's the limit of corruption? Okay? It's not rhetorical. Tell me where you think people are corruptible. Is everybody corruptible, and at what limit is everybody corruptible? And if we have to apply this across the board to a gubernatorial campaign, to a state senate campaign, and to my race, is Representative Frank corruptible at $1,000, $1,001, $5,000, $5,001, $10,000? And is it every election cycle, or is it every year? Tell me, what do you think, Matthew?
It's just money, is it?
It's this one is just campaign finance. This is just campaign. This doesn't handle the gifts. The gifts are actually under the ethics portion of it, and we've really, that's another bill that's being carried. The limits on gifts. That bill. Just a second, Matthew. One of the other bills that's being carried, Donna, is a bill that doesn't allow for legislators to take over a $10 meal. Okay? You want to go to lunch at In-N-Out Burger with a lobbyist, eat all the burgers you want for under $10. Okay? Right? And I still like Chatters. Okay, so there's just enough people in the legislature who are concerned that there will be that 95,000 signatures will be collected and that it will make it through the ballot initiative, the ballot on in November, the first Tuesday after the first Monday, November 2nd in this case. So Monday is the first, right? That there's just enough people who are concerned about it in the legislature that they're willing to actually consider some limit. Now, I had a little discussion with the governor the other day. There's 29 counties in Utah. And he has to run his race across the state. In fact, not only does he have to run a regular four-year cycle, he has to run a 9-month cycle and then a 2-year cycle after that to get back on track, because he inherited the position from our exiting governor. So I need to clarify something also. I think Governor Huntsman did some tremendous things for our state, okay? All right, okay. All right, so anyway, so there's a 9-month cycle there, all right? And then there's a 2-year cycle. So how do we accommodate that too? Our current law doesn't offer that. Matthew, you had a question. Or you were going to give me Representative Frank's corruption level.
No, I was going to say that
I'll make a lot of room here because it might be big.
is it an issue of being corrupted, or is it an issue of let's level the playing field so that we're all have the same amount that we're spending in the race? And I guess if you say it's the latter one, we have to define how to enforce that limit has been met or hasn't been exceeded.
If
There's two I can see there, but
okay.
maybe there's two kind of issues.
Interesting point.
Let's
talk about corruption. There was a study done by the Center for Competitive Politics back in Washington, D.C. They took a survey over all the states. They came up with 2 indexes and melded them. The first index was the number of convictions of public officials within each state over a year's period of time, over a 10-year period, okay? And then they took another one that said whether or not the state had campaign finance limits all right? Whether they had no limits, whether they had some limits and not very good limits, or whether they were completely restricted, okay? And they melded those two studies together, and they found that Utah was tied on the corruption index for convictions and the fact that we don't have any campaign finance limits right now. They found that Utah was 7th lowest out of 50 states. There was almost no correlation between how much money somebody was making on campaigns and our conviction rate. Okay? If the study is bulletin number 5 on the Center for Competitive Politics website.
So interpretation to me is money doesn't necessarily corrupt Utah.
Okay, let's go to limits. Where is it?
Isn't one of the states that has the tightest limits also has the highest level of corruption?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I would bring that forward if we had more time. In fact, I would have put, like I said, bulletin number 5 on the website of Center for Competitive Politics. Okay, very enlightening. In fact, I just gave the governor asked for a copy of that study because he's going to fight this bill that I'm putting forward. And personally, my personal feeling, I've got another bill file open right next to it, because I think that if you take the limits off of gifts, if you take the limits off of campaign finance contributions, and you make us put those in the computer every 72 hours after we receive something. Oh, we got a pen, $5, boom. I took a meal from such and such a lobbyist, boom. I went on a golf trip, which I've never done, by the way, boom. I took a big old check from UV, you can't take them from the UVU. They don't give them, right? They don't give them. I took a big old check from Micron or IM Flash, boom. And we run these systems together, so if you want to know what I'm doing what I'm taking as your legislator, you can go online and see everything I've taken, okay? And then every 2 years for representatives and every 4 years for state senators, we have a citizens initiative at the ballot box, okay? Term limits are at the ballot box, folks. That's my feeling. That's my personal feeling, okay? Now I've kind of tainted the discussion now. Because if you can't trust me as your representative, I don't deserve to be in office, right? I've never asked for a single, in 7 years, I've never asked for a single campaign contribution. All right? Doesn't mean I haven't taken them. I had 5 people this last session, individuals, this last session, in the last month or so, that have given me checks, individuals. I've taken those. Thank you for supporting my campaign for re-election. It's expensive to run. And if we don't allow for contributions to some degree, if we don't allow for contributions, then only the rich and the elite will be able to run, okay? And I'm not one of them. Believe me, when I'm making my when I'm making the mortgage payment on my second house because I can't sell it, it hits me hard, okay? I said this at the Capitol. I don't have any money in my wallet. Okay, I have $20 in my wallet. I just put $20 in my wallet, so I can't say that. But I could spend that $20 on a couple of you for lunch at In-N-Out Burger, and I'd be drained till next week, okay? Or maybe even till next month. And my wife's wallet's no thicker than mine, okay?
2 things, Craig. First, we have to take the purple turtle and support the local economy.
Touche.
Little acorn.
Little acorn, yeah.
Second thing, I have to just say that I really endorse what you're saying in the sense that we trust the people, but they have to have information. And what's happened up to this point is we don't know. It hasn't been recorded and posted except these limits. in a sense, I think it's a $50 one. So they try to keep a bunch of that stuff under that radar screen.
Right.
But I'm one that really trusts the people. If they have access to information, I'll tell you, people